Welcome students, I am Mr. Simanchal Panda, going to start the class for pilot plant scale-up technique from industrial pharmacy. Last class we discussed about all the parameters of evaluation. So now this class we will start from process evaluation. So for any kind of manufacturing, for example, if that is going for tablet processing, it is going through different phases. So each phase is the unit operation. So unit operation is comprising of different unit processes. So there are different parameters written here. We can see that order of mixing of components, mixing speed, mixing time, rate of addition of granulating agent, solvent, solution of drug, etc. Heating and cooling rate, filter size, screen size, drying temperature and drying time. Here they have given the example of granulation. Whenever we are going for the granulation, we can see that we have to add some amount of solvent. We have to go for the processing by mixing it. Then after mixing, we have to go for drying. Then we have to add different type of ingredients, solvent, solution, so that it will go for the binding activity. We have to go for heating. Then after we have to go for the filling. Then we have to go for the different through the screen. We have to sieve it so that it will attain the desired size. Then we have to go for the drying at a particular temperature. So these are the different process. They have to evaluate it in each step to ensure the quality of product. So why to carry out process evaluation? The knowledge of effects of various process parameter as few mentioned in the previous slide from the basis for optimizing and validation. The purpose of process validation is to confirm that the selected manufacturing process assure the quality of product at various critical stages in the process and in finished form. It has to be told that whenever in a manufacturing company they are having quality assurance department, they do quality checking at a different step interval. So during the production at the same place, the quality is measured, and that is known as the in-process quality control, and the unit which monitor the complete quality of the products is known as the quality assurance department. So if you are going for the tablet, then we can see that there are different type in-process quality control test. That is we can see there is organoleptic characteristic, we have to go for it checking. Then we can go for the friability, weight variation, thickness, like this hardness testing. So these are the different in-process quality control tests are continue in between the process to ensure the quality of the products. Master manufacturing processes, we can see that there are three steps: wait sheet, processing direction, manufacturing procedure. These are the different three important aspects during the master manufacturing procedures. So the wait sheet should clearly identify the chemicals required in a batch. To prevent confusion, the names and the identifying numbers for ingredients should be used on batch records. Whenever we are going for any kind of manufacturing, there is some master formula is present. So according to that, we have to weigh the exact amount for getting the exact calculated product. So we have to go for master manufacturing formula, and we have to ensure before formulation the ingredients, the exact number, the identify the accurate ingredient, and the batch number must be mentioned so that the raw materials should not be exchanged. The process direction should be precise and explicit. A manufacturing procedure should be written in the actual operator. Various specifications like addition rates, mixing time, mixing speed, heating and cooling rate, temperature, storing of finished product samples should be monitored. In the batch record direction, there is some batch recording there, and in that each batch is recorded. If a tablet batch is running, then all the batch number of raw materials are coded there, and from that for the each time interval of batch processing, there is some record are mentioned. In that record, there are different parameters like that I told as in the tablet, the friability, weight variation, disintegration, hardness, all those records are mentioned. If those are for the quality control process, they can add the dissolution rate and other parameters which are included in the batch. So batch to batch it has to be monitored and data is stored securely for if in the future any problem may occur for any batch, they can refer from the batch record and they can find out the batch number. Uh, various uh, uh, various specification like addition rates, mixing time, those are also clearly visible from the records. The transfer of analytical methods to quality assurance. During the scale up of new product, the analytic test method developed in research must be transferred to the quality assurance department. Early in the transfer process, the quality assurance staff should review the process to make sure that the proper analytic instrument is available and the personnel are trained to perform the test. Here we can see that from the research and development or the formulation development, a new product is found, and from that new product it has to go for different test method, and those tests has to be taught to the people, and the people must learn the process by knowing the different stages of the quality control test and the manufacturing process, and each step has to be trained to the production people. So here the technology transfer coming from the research and development to the production operator. The production stability and uniformity. The primary objective of pilot plant is the physical as well as chemical stability of the product. Whenever we are taking any kind of active ingredient that is having the pharmacological activity in the body, so whenever we are taking the other excipient, we must know that they are not having any kind of chemical incompatibility with the active ingredients. So the uniformity and the stability study is more important. They are placed in different chamber or with a different temperature. They allow it for going for the different temperature and pressure at different time interval. They check it if there is any kind of chemical interaction that may lead to therapeutic incompatibility, that has to be rejected out, and the calculation of expiry date can also be done if the stability studies has been finished. There are different good manufacturing procedure consideration there, because right now the product having the more quality and the accuracy are treated good and they are having the quality product. So according to the GMP, we have to go for the different consideration like equipment qualification. We must run equipments which are having the standard quality. They have to like international ISO, international standard organizations are having the different ranking system, and from that if those are qualifying the standard, those equipment has to be used. Then we can go for the process validation. In the process validation, each step has to be monitored properly. If there is any kind of faulty validation method there, that has to be changed and the process has to be developed. Regulatory scheme preventive maintenance, because there are different regulatory matters are there. If one product is coming from one country to another country, the climate and the humidity and different activities will change. The atmosphere level will be changed and the product has to be stable and sustained in a particular type of environment. So regulatory department from one country to another country also vary. There are different rules and regulations are present and it will vary from different countries. So regulatory process reviews and revalidation has to be done. There should be some written standard operation procedure must be there, and the use of competent technically qualified person must be implemented. Adequate provision for the training of person. Generally any person who is coming for the work, they must have some technical education. They must learn the basic, and they are having the technical degrees on the particular professional works. So that generally for the B pharmacy, M pharmacy diploma, so they are having the trained professionals and they can work for the GMP procedures for the different validation process. That person must be well qualified and well knowledgeable about the products. Well-defined technology transfer system must be present. Validated cleaning procedure is mandatory. All orderly arranged of equipment so that to ease material flow and prevent cross contamination. We have seen that the master plan for process validation is that, or stepwise we have to go for the pilot scale up technique. The basic important thing is that not to go for the cross contamination of materials. So the flow rate of and the design process is made in such a way that it should be unidirectional and it should not be get any kind of the contamination process. There are certain disadvantages are related to it also. The frequent direct interaction of the formulator with the product personnel in the manufacturing area will be reduced. Any problem in manufacturing will be directed towards its own pilot plant personnels. So pilot plant scale up of tablet designs, the primary responsibility of pilot plant staff is to ensure that the newly formulated tablets developed by product development personnel will prove to be efficient, economically and constantly reproducible on a production scale. They have to work technically, they have sound knowledge, they have to go for the documentation, and the product must be economical, the process must be economical with the safe hands. The design and the construction of pharmaceutical pilot plant for tablet development should incorporate features necessary to facilitate maintenance and cleanliness. The cleanliness is more important as to avoid the microbial contamination as well as the contamination of the outer ingredient or other ingredients during the manufacturing area. If possible, it should be located on the ground floor to expedite the delivery and shipment of supplies. Pilot plants scale up for tablet design, that those for the microbial contamination as I was discussing earlier, they must be avoided, and they can be avoided by the following ways, like we can use fluorescent lighting fixture that will be go for the ceiling flush type. The various operating areas should have floor drains to simplify the cleaning. The area should be air conditioned and humidity controlled. That means we know that there are different ingredients are there which are susceptible to temperature and the humidity. So the environment condition must remain constant, and if we are using the humid condition in the control, then we can see that the microorganism cannot get sufficient moisture to grow in the particular area, and the temperature must be maintained. A high density concentrate floors should be installed. The walls in the preceding and packaging areas should be enamel cement finished on concrete. Generally we can use some peroxide paints so that there is no chance of growth of microorganism. It just make a protective layer, and those paints are generally used for different pharmaceutical industries. Equipment in the pharmaceutical pilot plants should be similar to that used by production division manufacture of tablets. There are different equipments, those has to be made by the pilot scale technique, and they must have some GMP standards. So here we have given one example of the pilot scale up technique. There are different chambers we can see, those are having the unidirectional movement, and we can see here the first tablet compression area is present on the left of the top. So the tablet compression can be done here, and first it is coming from the quarantine area. We can see this is the storage area. These are the different parts of the industry. So these are present. First of all, we have to go for the cleaning. Whenever all materials will come, it will go for the cleaning, then it will go for the milling. We can see here after it is coming, it has to go for the milling. From the milling it has to go for the blending. After blending it has to go for the drying, and after drying it has to go for the granulation. After granulation there will be tablet compression. Once tablet is getting compressed, if required we have to go for the coating. So it is a systematic procedure and systematic design where there is no chances of contamination. We can see that after coating we have to go for the packaging. In that we can see the weighing area is present, we can go for the storing, and we can make it quarantine the substance which is to be exported out or anything that is rejected out. And there is some official place like manager office is present, the conference room and library and packaging area. So this is the basic scale up design for industry of pharmaceutical tablets. So like this also we can go for the floor planning for small pilot scale. We can go for direct quarantine storage area, office area, then the granulating drying mills, then it will directly go for the compression, and if required it will go for the coating. So this is the basic design. They have gone for 3 into 3, and these are basic design, and according to the ratio it can be changed, and it will depend upon the small scale or large scale environment. So the next one, this one example has given for this granulation and the tablet compression. See here, first here the tablet is pressed, coated, tablet coater, tablet press, and dry mill, granulator, oyster, dispensing, blending, mixing, like that one. First one we have to go for the drying, we have to go for blending or mixing properly, we have to go for the granulation. After granulation we have to go for the drying, and after drying the granule we will go for the tablet press, and once the tablets are getting manufactured it has to go for the coating. So stages of production of tablet: material handling, dry blending, granulation, drying, reduction of particle size, special granulation technique, dry blending, direct compression, slugging, etc. So these are the different stages which we have studied earlier in Industrial Pharmacy 1. The stages production of tablet, that those are continuing, like dry blending, granulation, drying, production of reduction of particle size, special granulation techniques, dry blending, direct compression, sluggings. So material handling are of different type. In the laboratory, material are simply scooped or poured by the hand, but in intermediate or large scale operation, handling of the material often become necessary. If a system is used to transfer the material for more than one product, steps must be taken to prevent the cross contamination. We know that there are different steps which are involved for particular equipment, and batch to batch, if those are varying, we have to go for proper step to avoid the cross contamination. All material handling system must deliver to accurate amount of the ingredient to destination. The type of system selected also depend upon the characteristic of the material. More sophisticated method of handling the material, such as the vacuum loading system, metering pump, screw feed system, there is no or minimal loss of materials. There is dry blending. We know that this is known as the dry granulation, where we are using the cohesive powder. Cohesive powders, they don't require the moisture to make go for the granulation. So this is known as the dry blending method. Powders to be used for encapsulation are to be granulated and must be well blended to ensure good drug distribution. The inadequate blending stage could result in discrete portion of the batch being either high or low in potency. Steps should also be taken to ensure that all the ingredients are free of lumps and agglomerate. We know that there is some hygroscopic material and they can absorb the moisture during the blending, and they will make a small lump, and this will lead to non-uniform mixing of the ingredients. So we have to go for the steps, and we have to check whether they should be free from different lumps and the agglomeration. For the reason, screening and the milling ingredient usually make the process more reliable and reproducible. Scale up consideration: this is the time of blending, blender loading, size of blenders. These are the three important factors. Those are leading for the good product during the mixing or the blending. Problems which generally occurs during the blending process, that is the content uniformity problem, because if those are not mixed properly, the ingredients in the different product will have vary in their uniform content. Flow problems through the equipment, generally through the hopper, whenever these are coming from upper hopper to the compression die cavity, we can see that before the compression the weight may vary due to the non flow of the granules. They may go for the different rate of flow, so it can be minimized by drying properly or by adding different type of granules. non-reproducible compression. Generally sometime if we are not blending it properly, so the compression during the compression it lead to the problem. So there are different type of the equipments used for blending, that may be V blender, double cone blender, ribbon blender, slant cone blender, bin blender, orbiting screw blender, vertical and horizontal high intensity mixtures. So for today we have studied about the different pilot scale technique during the granulation, tablet compression, blending. So next class we will continue for the tablet pilot scale up techniques. Thank you.